the timer on. Oh, well.
Oh,
Hello, everyone. Too many buttons to press. Man, okay. And you have to do it all at once. Hey, everyone. Thank you for being here. Galactic Ashley and I are here tonight to talk about galactic stuff. Yeah, and so I'm really excited. It's been a month, or maybe a little bit over a month, since we've been here talking about these types of things, and anyone who knows me knows that this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, hey, Ashley.
hello. It's good to be here. It's good to be alive.
Isn't it? It's exciting to be alive during these times. And I am hovering above the planet in my cruiser, my space cruiser here. So that I'd come in for a little while and talk about what's going on the planet, in the solar system, in the galaxy, whatever, whatever comes to mind. Uh, so, Ashley, have you had any recent? How about if we share a little bit about ourselves, just in case anyone's here who doesn't know who we are? Ashley,
Sure,
go ahead and introduce yourself.
sure. So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Galactic Ashley, and I channel divine guidance for starseeds, connecting them to their star families and their galactic lineages. I use light language frequencies and work with your cosmic connections to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. And I do have a lot of artwork for sale on my website that are looking for their guardians or code keepers. And then I have a course that's coming up on starting May 17th. It's a 9-week course called Gaia in the Galactics. Sacred Heart Initiations to help us integrate and connect with galactic beings and also their Earth Warrior counterparts. So it's
Mm.
a lot about merging these two Gaian and galactic energies, and it's my wild card course. So I only do these one time, never again. So I'm excited. It should be. I don't know what it's going to be, but it will be intense. That's why they're called Galactic Guided Intensives, and
Mhm.
they're open to all. And then I have an event that's coming up on May 5th, and it's going to be on the 5-5 eclipse gateways, and we're going to talk about the eclipses tonight, I think. So it's going to be more focused on how to integrate the experiences of the eclipse, and tonight I think we're going to talk about what's going to be coming up during the gateways. So with that, Sharon, who are you?
Thank you, Ashley. That course sounds really exciting. I might have to jump in on that. And
Mhm.
yeah, totally. So, I am Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I'm in service to the planet as well, so many things that we do, right? Or we are present with here: psychic medium, hypnotherapist. I teach courses as well. I help with other lifetime soul retrieval types of thing, integration of stuck energies from other lifetimes that we sometimes call past lifetimes. I have been a contactee since a child with extraterrestrial beings, and I guess we can call them extraterrestrial family. Some of them weren't family though, but and I've my contact continues, conscious contact continues to this day. Uh, I am a star seed, and I believe that anyone that's drawn to this type of stuff is a star seed. There's a lot of us here.
Mhm.
We start recognizing each other, and we're drawn together for lots of reasons, to help this planet, to help humanity. And it's exciting. These are exciting times, even though they're chaotic and can drive you crazy, but and can be scary. But it's exciting times, and I feel really blessed and honored to be here during these times. And I'm so happy that I stuck around because I've had two near death experiences. So it's like I'm kind of happy I'm stuck around. I stuck around, and you know, yeah, because I didn't wouldn't want to miss this for the world. So yes, we do have an eclipse coming up the new moon, which is, I believe, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, well, tomorrow, and it's in Aries. So we have a solar eclipse, which can be pretty intense.
The 20th on Earth
On
Day.
the 20th. Okay.
Thursday. Tomorrow. No, day after tomorrow.
Day
Because
after
today's
tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes. So that feels like intense energy as I tune into it. So I know what I'm going to be doing, and that is integrating anything that comes up for me and working through it. Because sometimes when we don't realize what's going on, what I found is we don't understand what's, how the planets are aligned, and we don't pay attention that that type of thing, or these portals that come up, these gateways that come up, and things come up for us in our everyday life. We forget, oh, well, that makes sense because we've got all this going on. So we used to be in tune with these types of things long time ago, and then we got out of tune, we got out of sync, and just that awareness has kind of left us. So we don't understand sometimes when things are chaotic around us, or we just can't seem to get our feet under us, or things like that. So it's good to know that, and to remember to do some self-care during this time. And
Uh-oh. No. Okay, so let's just hang out for a minute to see if she unfreezes. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Handaraya ko koira shoro. All right. Meditative self-care. All right. So I'm going to start talking now until she comes back. She's been having problems with her internet since they've switched over to T-Mobile or something. So I don't know. So I will go ahead and talk. So some of the messages that I have been getting, what we can take advantage of is that the reason why these are eclipse gateways is because there is a solar eclipse, and then we're following that, we're heading into a lunar eclipse. And I was just trying to double check the dates really quick because I can't off the top of my head remember the lunar eclipse, but it's right around the corner. So what this gives us the advantage to intentionally go into these gateways with awareness, knowing that there's going to be, I mean, we've already been working with a lot of the solar flare energies, which are also going to be supporting this, getting blasted, so to speak, but basically allowing our bodies to become entrained with the solar frequencies. So on top of that, we are being offered these gateways. So the energies become aligned, stargates open, systems open. And so you can set intentions to work with solar frequencies. Maybe there's something that you've been wanting to take action on, to do some doing, and to work with allowing your cellular structure to open up, and to ask for these higher, to open the body and ask for these higher frequencies to actually come into your system so that you can make room to let go and allow that which what we would call non-beneficial energies, thought forms, and belief systems to be lifted and enlightened, healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened, healed and forgiven. So to let these parts of us that no longer serve us, essentially it's an opportunity for you to allow aspects of yourself to die off. So then you can move into a conscious sort of death process. What about yourself? Not that you don't like, that you find annoying or shameful, but that you are willing to have a courageous heart. You are willing to look at, you are willing to hold compassion for yourself and to allow these parts of you to be seen so that you can actually invite the sun in to shine light on the parts of you that you would like to work through, that you would like to face, and then to let the moon come in and sort of wash these aspects and these areas of yourself out, if that makes sense. So it's like a inviting in higher frequency, like a higher frequency infusion to come into the system, to even call in joy and happiness and to give yourself permission to feel joy. But a lot of times when we do that, it's also going to bring up stuff. And that is the beauty of working with these higher frequency energies, is that it allows us to feel joy, to feel these high vibrational energies. And then as those energies come into us, it sort of brings up, you can think of it like a filtering system, or like the leaves will rise up and rise to the top of what sort of needs to be scooped up or scooped off. So then we can allow the lunar frequencies to come in and sort of be the scooper and sort of remove them from everything that's going on. Welcome, Sharon.
Well, thank you. Thank you for holding down the fort.
Yeah.
I was talking like crazy and realized I'm not connected. Okay. Wow. Keep going.
Mm. No, we're good. So what, I don't remember what you were talking about. So what we were just talking about is how to work with the solar energies and the lunar energies, because we're going into both of these, and to basically the advice that's been coming in or guidance is to consciously set intentions. So you have tonight and tomorrow night to sort of set intention about how you would like to enter into these eclipse gateways without fear. But if you're worried, you can be worried. But to set an intention, and maybe even tonight we offer you ceremonies so that you can start a sort of an intention ceremony and go into it. And even though you most likely might be located, if you're at least in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere around here, we can't see the solar eclipse, but you can still tune into it. And it can even help sometimes to bring up a live stream or a live something that's happening somewhere. I think it's like in the Pacific Islands can see some of it, and then South Africa, I don't remember where, but
Yeah, I don't remember either. I do
yeah.
remember that in October we'll be able to see it here in Oregon, but other than that, I don't remember anything. Yeah, so that's intense stuff coming up. Uh, and there's another one in May, you said, right?
Yeah, well, there's the lunar eclipse is also coming on the tail end of the solar eclipse. Not the same day, but I was trying to look up the dates.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But then you froze.
I yeah, I got to tell you, don't ever get T-Mobile, people. Ever since we got T-Mobile, I keep getting bumped off of the internet, so I apologize. Maybe that's just our deal over here where I'm at, but I don't have anything nice to say about them as an internet provider. Okay. Yeah. So
Oh, it is
bas-
on May 5th. Sorry, May 5th.
it's May 5th. Okay.
Yeah.
So intense stuff going on, definitely. Um, yeah, I was just sharing about kind of what I like to do during these times is during these gateways is to make sure that I am aware of anything that comes up within me during these times and take care of it at the moment. Anything that might be coming to the surface. Um, Also, I like to pay attention to my dreams during these times because they seem to be more intense and I get a lot more conversations, I guess you could say. Lucidity. Yeah. I would just maybe invite people to make sure to nurture yourself during these times and pay attention to what comes up for you. And I like the idea of a ceremony, definitely, or some kind of meditation time to help integrate the energies.
And ceremony can be small. Maybe you can call it a ritual if you only have 5 minutes, but
Mhm.
even just a small quiet space for 15 minutes, placing in intention and attention on what you would like to work through during the time can be helpful. Just it can be light a candle, just sit there for a minute. It doesn't have to be a 2 hour or 10 hour sort of scenario. With a
Right,
small
yeah.
offering, an offering can help. An offering can be a crystal, it can be some plants outside, flowers, a stick, whatever you feel guided to sort of offer. Your
Offer
voice, words, like offerings can be so an offering, some kind of something about light, and then 5-10 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, Also, I think it's, I think that we forget to tune in or basically remember about the sentient energy of the sun and the moon as sentient beings, and we forget to offer anything to the, to the sun or the moon, as sentient beings, like offer whatever it is, gratitude, love, anything that we would offer to any kind of a being that we have an intention to work with. So it's so I think that's really helpful, is to remember that going back to our ancestor days, our ancestry day, ancient days, that the sun is sentient, the moon is sentient, and so we can have that conversation and that intention with them as sentient beings. Yeah. And I like to, well, I'm a sun worshiper anyway. I'm sure it's in my DNA somewhere because I love the sun, and here I live in Oregon. But in Oregon, in the Northwest, we do appreciate the sun a lot more than, because I lived around the South most of my life, but where we kind of take it for granted. So we definitely appreciate it here in the Northwest. I love the sun. I mean, who doesn't like being in the sun, especially when it's kind of rare during this time of year? So yeah, any ideas that anyone has that they would like to share about maybe what your ritual is during an eclipse? We'd be really happy to see that for sure. Yeah. So Ashley, have you had any communications with your peeps about what's going on now in the world or in our collective?
Putting the pressure on.
Oh,
No, that's okay. I mean, what is the title of the show?
I know, right? That's why we're here.
Um, I've been doing a lot of personal work, and they keep just bringing me back to the importance of all of us taking responsibility for our stuff. And that's been kind of a lesson that's been coming up for me. So it's taking sometimes, like for myself, I have a history of taking over responsibility for things that are not mine. So I have been working through sort of disembodying the mother and disembodying the father. And during those processes, I was kind of like waiting because some energy came in and I was like ready to do something about it. But I realized it wasn't actually mine and it wasn't my responsibility, but it was responsibilities that I had taken on. So there's a process I feel, and this is all just to me, the from 2020 to 2025 is just a giant gateway that is open for us to just sit down and sort of do the work. So I've been sitting down and doing the work. And so when we have these influxes of energy, it's just an opportunity to really, for my opinion, it's about dying into more complex versions of ourselves. So I'm always looking for places to die. Like, where can I die? What needs to die off of me? how can I enter into these spaces as conscious and courageously as possible to find these trauma patterns or find these patterns that my physical structure has taken on, so that I can actually lighten up or enlighten. And so the joke that I kind of make is I'll be enlightened when I can keep my kitchen clean. And and that sounds silly, right? But it's like, if it none of this information that's kind of up here really does any good until we can really anchor it into our bodies. And in order to anchor this high vibrational information into our bodies, it means that we have to be able to bring that through and co-create it and actually make it make sense in this dimensional experience,
Mhm.
whether we're experiencing 3, 4, or 5D. And currently there's table and there's a chair, and so until this table and this chair become a little bit less dense, I'm still needing to function in this sort of space. So that being said, I feel like I have recently gone through a really massive shift, and I've been celebrating. Actually, I think I'm on like day 8 of a maintenance phase in my kitchen, and there's been like a huge shift and a lot of like joy kind of running through my system. So I've just been holding on to that, not like clinging on to it, but just trusting that there's a flow of energy that's moving through. So there's really been a lot of, I think, death in my world over here. And also the same side of that, where the other side of that coin is also the need to birth oneself. So to understand that is the same thing, and can we hold the space on this transitional space, like this threshold, and be open that we're allowing both death and birth to kind of move through us, which is a pretty intense sort of space to be in. So those are like, that's a personal experience, but essentially those are the messages. Is like, we have this amazing opportunity and this really intense 5, 6 year chunk of time to move a massive amount of stuff through us, and it's really uncomfortable at a lot of times. And so it's like, how can we become more comfortable with discomfort? How can we understand and really know what discernment is? So discernment is of the heart, judgment is of the mind. And how can we just really be aware of our thoughts, be aware of our bodies and sort of space, be aware of my favorite thing that people always say, and that we, I think, do as humans, is like, oh, I'll use Sharon as an example. Oh, Sharon is thinking XYZ about me. It's like, we waste so much energy worrying about the perceptions of another person's perceptions. Like, it's so
Mhm.
far from the reality. So it's a
Right.
waste of time for me to worry about what Sharon's thinking of me, because by the time you go through that, it's like my distortion of her distorted view of me is just ridiculous. So it's so much easier to go to the people in your life and be very transparent and just open. Like, if they're a safe place, then just ask them what they're thinking.
You know, and I used to do that too, and have those feelings of gosh, everyone's judging me kind of thing, and that's
Mhm,
and fear is public speaking comes from that, right?
mhm,
But I realized that, and Yeshua, he always gives me these messages, was that they're not people are not thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves. What's going on with them. They
mhm,
Right, they're thinking about what's going on in their world more than anything. So we think that people are actually thinking about us and judging us or blah 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 whatever, when it's most people are just thinking about what's going on in their life and what's going on in their world at that moment. So he helped me realize, you mean it's not about me? It's not always about me. But I wanted to read something, that what you said in the beginning about how you were working on yourself, and you found that you're not kind of here to fix people, right? I read in the Way of Mastery this morning, channelings or dictation from Yeshua, and this is just one paragraph. He says, I wish to direct you to peace, even that peace which forever transcends the understanding and comprehension of the world. I desire, because my Father desires it through me, to bring you wholly to where I am, that you might discover there is someone that got there ahead of you. And when you look closely, you go, ah, it's myself. I've always been there, but I forgot. And in the end of all journeying, in the end of all purification, and indeed purification is still necessary, you will discover that to awaken means to have journeyed nowhere. It means to have arrived at a goal that has never changed. Awakening is only remembrance, but it is a remembrance not just of the intellect, for it is not an idea as you would understand ideas. It is an idea that vibrates through the whole field of your beingness, so that even the cells of the body, while yet the body remains coalesced together in its present form, even the cells of the body awaken and relax into the truth that is true always. And I missed the part where he said, "You can't fix everybody," but uh, what he says is that basically, you aren't here. We aren't here. Even though that was amazing, that was beautiful. I was reading that this morning and tears of feeling him there. We we're not here to fix anyone or fix anything because we're already there. We're already, everyone is already at this place that he just described.
If we're going around trying to fix things, then that means that we're assuming that something is wrong. And that includes
Right.
with ourselves. And if we're going around trying to fix people, I don't want to say that's the worst thing that we can do, but we're really projecting. It means that we're uncomfortable with what somebody else is doing, and what somebody else is doing doesn't really have anything to do with us. Or we're saying that what that person is doing is wrong. And then if we're trying to fix somebody else, then in a lot of ways, we're robbing them of their own empowered journey. Now, if somebody
Right.
comes to you and asks you, "Can you
That's
help
different.
me?" And
Hmm.
that's completely different. And then we still can't. I had this huge realization. My mom has cancer, and her cancer has spread, and so it sort of like brought up this whole like other thing, like, "Ooh, I wonder what's going on." And there was this really deep seated kind of fear that sort of got unearthed, where I actually thought, some part of me thought, that I was going to have to die for her. And then I had this realization, was actually like the most freeing thing, was that you can't, nobody can die for anybody else. No being can die on behalf of another being. And so when I had that realization, I felt like all of this like power like come back into my system and come back into my body, and it was hugely freeing. So, and I love working in the death realms. So that some little thing just thought that, and only for her, right? Because, there's a connection, and I've been going through this like disembodying sort of the mother energy. And that was one of like the deepest little things in there. So it's like we can guide people and lead them up to death the same way that you guide or lead people through a birthing process. You can lead them through a death process. But you can't die for them the same way as you can't give birth on, I mean, technically you could be a surrogate, right? But that's different. But you can't give, for once there is a baby inside of you, you cannot have
Right.
somebody, you can't take it out and put it inside something else. Like, you have to go through the process of birthing, and we all have to go at some point through the process of deathing. Like, I guess my new
Death thing.
deathing, that's my new term.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense. And I noticed in my personal journey 20 years ago or so that I always felt like I had to fix the world. I'm here to fix things. I'm here to fix the world. Um, and I read, it was when I read Asking Is Given by Abraham Hicks. And in the first chapter, I think it was, I think it said, "You're not here to fix the world. You're not here to save the world," basically. Because oh, I have to save everybody. I have to save this. I have to save that. And which is kind of narcissistic when you think about it. But when I read that in Abraham Hicks' book, "Asking Is Given," it was such a huge, profound moment for me, and I just start had this a well up of emotion, and the tears flooded, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this burden has been taken from my shoulders for some reason. I felt like there was a burden taken from my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. Yeah, it was pretty profound for me. Yeah, it's um, it's freeing when we realize working on ourselves is the most important thing we can do, and then the rest pretty much follows.
Yeah. And then to be
Yeah.
able to integrate, and basically the most powerful thing that we can do is live and embody that integration and become the emanation of joy,
Mhm.
of love, of peace. And the quote unquote ego doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's not that the ego doesn't want to do that. I'm sure there's parts of the ego that are really happy to do that. But it's like, are you willing to be an emanation of joy, of peace, of love without any acknowledgement and without anybody knowing? Because it doesn't really matter. It only matters that those frequencies and those energies are moving through your body and are going out into the field. And then other people, their higher selves, their energy fields can pick up on those energies and do something with them and you can be
Right.
completely transformative to somebody else's life and have absolutely no idea. And I think
Right.
that's amazing and beautiful and the way things should be, right?
Totally.
Anything is possible at any point in time. And it's not even a matter of like even saying any words to someone. It's just being in a place, being you, doing
Being in their frequency, giving them a smile, you know? Yeah, totally. And, it makes me think of something that I read and I've been gleaned and been told is that in our physical reality, we are only aware of, like, less than 1% of what's really going on with us, in our consciousness and energetically and in the unseen world, which is not very much
Mhm.
compared to how we're really affecting the world around us in our immediate, surroundings, energetic surroundings, and so on, and also our multidimensional selves is so vast, and we are so vast as these light beings that it's really mind blowing when you think about it. This is just a tiny, tiny, tiny spark of what how we really affect our environment energetically, and the butterfly effect is, yeah, true. So, and that includes our thoughts, right?
Yeah. What there it's part there's a part of the brain, I don't know if we've talked about this on here before, but there's a part of the brain that registers your thoughts in the same energy, the same part of the brain that is, I think it starts with a B, and I can't remember right now. But it's the same part of the brain that has thought and the same part of the brain that uses words, right? So it's like your thoughts, it's the exact same thing as saying them out loud. And if we all spent as much time thinking about how powerful our words are and that they actually have a very profound effect on not only ourselves, but other people, we might actually slow down a little bit more and choose our words and choose kindness and think about how our words are affecting people. And not only that, but our voices can program our water bodies and program our
Mm.
own bodies more than any other voice can. So, our personal voices have so much power and have complete authority, and we have so much sovereignty over our own bodies. So, it's not just, oh, I didn't say that out loud, or, there's like people that are like, oh, I don't want to manifest that, so I don't want to say it out loud. But if you're thinking it, it's the same
It's the
thing.
same thing.
Like, and
Yeah.
our brains, our bodies are processing it exactly the same. So
Mhm.
if you want to adjust something or work towards something, what I always tell people in my courses is to make audio recordings
Right, I was just thinking that.
of your own voice and play that while you're sleeping or in meditation, because it's your voice that your body is going to respond to more than any other voice. And I
Yeah.
think that that is just hugely powerful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Totally. Yeah, that's a really good point, and I forget about that too, that, because I actually have made a couple of affirmation tapes with my voice, and, unfortunately, I haven't listened to them very much.
Mhm.
I like listening to music or,
Yeah.
that kinda thing, that, meditation type of music, but I know that there's some programs out there or some apps that you can get where you can embed binaural beats and music,
Mhm.
with something that you recorded, like your own voice. Um, so that's pretty profound right there too,
Yeah.
and you can do a little bit of study on what binaural beats you wanna use for different things. Um, yeah. So, hello, Soul Prima.
Mhm. Bless you.
Buddies, yes. And, Adamo Adamo gave us a smile. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here.
And so, for all of you out there, that while we're talking about voices and the power of our own voice, I bet you half of you are sitting there going, I hate the sound of my own voice.
Yeah, that's
You
probably
make
why
the
I didn't.
sound of your own voice, that is absolutely something to look at, because there are messages in that. Why do you hate the sound of your own voice? Who told you that you didn't have a lovely voice? And then what about all the people that said that you did have a lovely voice? Then maybe there's shame around what you're doing with your voice or what you're not doing with your voice, right? So
Right.
think about how you feel about your voice, because we all have, there's like a resonance in our own tone of voice, in there's, it's called like vagal tone, right? So it's like how we are able to calm our own central nervous system, how when you are speaking you can pay attention to when your voice goes up higher in your throat. So pay attention to who you're speaking to when that's happening. When do you feel small? When do you start coughing? So our voice and the tone of our voice is always communicating with us, and being able to track your own central nervous system during the day, like when it gets activated and when it isn't, and paying attention to your voice when you're comfortable using your voice. I mean, these are all like lovely things that we can work towards, that, because our bodies are always communicating with us, and our bodies are 100% multidimensional, and they're connected to every aspect of our soul. Every multidimensional aspect of us are connected to the future and the past, to different lifetimes. And our bodies are hugely powerful resources that are directly connected to this planet and directly connected to source. So if you're confused, ask your body and go to your body, and start practicing and playing with the wisdom that your body has.
I love that. Yeah, our body definitely is intelligent, and you'll be able to tell, if you don't already, um, how your body reacts, or reacts to your affirmations, and reacts to your breath, reacts to your thoughts. Uh, Anything, you think something, you could do a test. Think something that maybe is, kind of negative, and see and feel into it and see how your body reacts. And then think about something that makes you feel good and see how your body reacts, and feel your body and get in tune with your body, because that's really important. And yeah, we hold all our cell memories within our body, within our cells of our body. And it's, uh, that's why we get triggered. sometimes when things come up and we get triggered and we don't even know why. It's because we have memories of things that are that
Mhm.
traumatic experiences, not necessarily in this lifetime, but others where and it just comes to the surface and we don't even understand why. So the more aware we are of that, good point, Ashley. The more free flowing we are and we can be, because that's really good stuff. Hey Shelly, good to see you. Shelly is here.
Speaking of bodies, a lot of
Yes.
bodies have been getting sick. You've been
Oh,
sick, right? Do you wanna talk about that?
uh, well, yeah. I mean, I just I have noticed a lot of people are getting sick right now, and something's definitely going on with well, with me, it just hit me like a freight train. I don't even know where it came from, but obviously something was going on in my world. Uh, yeah, I would say again, nurture yourself if you have anything that comes up at the time. I believe that there's just what I was shown many years ago, and this may be way out there, crazy, sound crazy, whatever, but I was shown many years ago by my guidance that, how do I put it? These, whenever we get sick, okay, whenever we don't feel good or something like that, because I had a head cold and some kind of a um, infection, bacterial infection. Um, Whenever we do get sick, there's something that is, how do I put it, coming up in our system that needs to be taken care of. Okay, it comes up in our system. And we also have, uh, if we look at it, I don't know how to put it. If we look at our world, our reality here as a computer program, okay, that which I kind of feel is, kind of we're kind of like that because I've seen the grid. I've said this before. I've seen the grid that computer kind of viruses can get injected into certain areas of the program. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense?
Sort of. It sounds like you're comparing the body to like a computer or piece of technology, and you're talking about how it can get viruses.
Yeah, but they're not maybe the viruses we think they are. It's a different. What I was shown was that it's a it's not an alive. It's like a computer virus.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe it. Uh, yeah, I was shown that it's not what we think it is, basically. And I would have to do another meditation on it to be able to describe it like I saw it before. Somebody can, okay, as an example, it's a mind virus. Okay, there we go, a mind virus. Uh, about last March, March 2020. Okay, when all when everything started happening about the pandemic and everything, uh, I was feeling fine. Everything was fine, and then someone said to me, "I'm not feeling good. My throat starts to hurt." Like that, I felt it jump into my throat. I felt in my throat. It was it was it was a mind virus.
Mhm. So you're basically saying that because you hadn't had that thought before and then that person offered that thought, there was a part of you that was resonating with fear that then took that in so that then you were sick.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
I didn't know how to put it into words because I see it in the concept.
Right. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that I talk to and they've had very similar experiences. And there's also people that will say that's not in my reality. And then all of a sudden it is in their reality, because at the same time, we are still part of a human collective. So if
mhm,
there's still enough people that are believing it, then we can become susceptible. So I totally agree with what you say. And at the same time, I also want to remind people that just because you get sick, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong.
right.
Because there's something to pay attention to that the dragons are always bringing up is, I'm sorry, I had to start standing because I was in the car for 3.5 hours driving to make sure that I
Oh,
could
that's
get here to be here. And then my legs started falling asleep and my body was like, we don't want to sit anymore. So I'm just going to stand here and kind of fidget a little bit.
no, that's
Um,
fine.
is our we have a massive amount of energy in our subconscious that we're not aware of. So just because we consciously know, we can know a lot of things and be like, that's not a part of my reality, but
Mhm,
some part of your reality exists in the subconscious that believes that. So a lot of times we get sick and that illness is absolutely a message. So I used to get sick a lot. I used to get a lot of strep throat, a lot of just a lot of throat things. I would lose my voice. I know Sharon has a lot of history of losing her voice too.
yeah,
Um, and a lot of that was because I wasn't actually in my authentic voice. Like a lot of this would happen in grad school and it would be towards the end of the semester. So my body would like hang on. And then at the end, it would be like, yeah, we're done. And a lot of it was because I wasn't using my voice at points when I needed to use my voice. So it was still me healing, and sometimes I was using my voice when I was meant to use my voice, and it's bringing up all of the times that I was silenced or didn't have a voice from this lifetime and other lifetimes, that it has to still heal through the physical body, because we're still physical beings that are having to discharge a lot of these energies. So I know that, I think Shelly just said that she was also sick. I had a ton of my coaching clients all got sick, and I think I had like maybe 8 of them, and only one of them finished, quote unquote, on time. And so like massive amounts of sickness, both like throwing up, fevers
mhm,
coming out
wow.
all orifices of the body. And in a lot of them had, and because we were working together, there was a lot of perspective about like what was literally coming up and coming out, because a lot of times we have these really visceral physical experiences, and when we can sort of yield to those experiences and let those frequencies come out of our body, we can see maybe the technology that's coming out of us. We can see these old past parts of ourselves, and then think about, how do you want to be taken care of when you're sick, and can you sort of care for yourself in maybe the ways that you weren't cared for when you were sick before. So there's so many opportunities that are available for us when we are sick. I, knock on wood, wasn't sick when everybody else was getting sick, but it doesn't mean that I didn't have periods of, like yesterday, I was super, super tired yesterday, but it was because I was coming off of a weekend at like the Rasani Fair, which was just a lot of energy. And I was just like, oh, this is why I take Mondays off.
Yeah, I do too. I take Mondays
Yeah.
off, yeah.
So
Nice.
there's a lot happening. So if you've been sick, I've noticed a lot of clients, a lot of people in my last course, a lot of people were getting sick. So you're definitely not alone. And I kind of think it's a good thing.
Mhm. Yeah, well, if it needs to be brought up and
Yeah.
cleansed, yeah, definitely. And I did have a high fever for about 3 days. Um, so yeah, it's no fun. I haven't been sick in 3 years, over 3 years. So I consider myself lucky because blessed, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've been sick, but it was a doozy. So I guess I guess that's what happens when you haven't been sick in a while. But yeah, uh, a lot um, a lot of that going around right now. I still kind of feel that there's some kind of mind virus that I mean, I was shown that
Yeah.
because we Huh?
That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally believe that, and I believe what I'm shown, so by my guidance, because it makes sense. It's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I know that," you know? I already know that. "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." But anyway, so we wanted to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, Shelly, I hope you're feeling better. You still feel tired all the time. Yeah, it's a doozy, whatever mind virus we got going on right now. Whatever we have going on. Yeah, and there's a lot of energies uh, clearing or helping us to clear, bring stuff up too. Totally. So I just wanted to share that I saw a giant in my backyard this morning as I was waking up and coming back from my travels. I feel um, now the intel out there in the circles I listen to, like Michael Salla and all them, that he has an insider that is talking about, and there's other people that he talks to, interviews that are supporting the information that there are very large beings in these sarcophagi uh, who are waking up, that they've been buried, in certain areas around the planet. And because of what's going on on the planet and with us, they're waking up apparently. And for some reason, when you're in that liminal state and you have those visions, I woke up and I saw very clearly. And I get these all the time. I saw very clearly. I'm standing on my porch and I see in the backyard. I see this giant male being walking away from me by the deck, and and he's wearing black pants and a black wraparound kind of shirt with a belt, and his whatever he was wearing was not modern. It was more something that he wouldn't wear. Not like a dress shirt or button down shirt or anything like that. It was giantish, but I don't know what to call it. Um, Something from another time or another planet or whatever. And he's just walking away. As he's walking away, and I'm watching him, and it was just clear as day. It was a few seconds. I don't know, maybe 6 seconds. I'm like, what the heck? Why am I seeing? And then I completely wake up here, and why am I seeing a giant in my backyard? So I have a feeling maybe I was having some kind of communication with him. I only remembered as he was walking away. That was crazy. I see a lot of crazy stuff. Um, Also, I remembered quite a few years ago, and I had a conversation with someone about it today, where I had a very strong vision of being placed in a sarcophagus and being the lid, closing the lid, and being pushed, the sarcophagus. I'm seeing it from the outside being pushed into some kind of a cave wall or something like that, and and then I, as me, uh, uh, I feel more expanded right after that. I feel consciousness seems more expanded. I have more knowledge. I have more clarity, that type of thing. So I don't know what that was all about, but as I was talking to this person today, I did an interview for my website, and we were talking on my channel where we are now, and she was talking about that ancients have done that, and we brought up also the idea of the halls of Amenti,
Mhm.
where a lot of beings have left their avatar there and then go off and then come back, and if it happened in a split second, because we can go somewhere and come back. I know this from my NDE, and that kind of stuff. And in a split second we go and get information and get our consciousness does travels all over to other star systems and stuff, and then brings it back, and then we're back in our avatar here. That's that's kind of crazy. So I believe that we have that ability already. Those of us that have chosen to do that type of thing, that it's happening. I've talked about this before, but I can just see it happening. It's I believe we're going to do that on a conscious state, maybe in this lifetime. What do you think about that?
About that, about in particular, about what?
Avatar bodies stored around the universe or the galaxy.
Mm, in relation to I think I would maybe a different perspective. I don't know, not in relation to the halls of Amenti. I feel like we're, at least for me, what I've been shown is that I'm here to build a quote unquote dragon body, and that plants and animals are here to help facilitate that. And one of the weeks that we're doing in Gaia and the Galactics is coming in with the plant medicine consciousness, which is just any plant, right? That plants are here to help us remember how to convert light into life, right? So to me, it's not about having something, even though there might be like an overlaying process. To me, I'm here to allow my body to be able to take over, to let my chakra system to dissolve, because that's what keeps us part of the matrix. But that's a process. So don't pay anybody to dissolve your chakras for you, because it's a process, and our organs have to be able to process the frequencies on their own. So originally the chakra system was here to help us because we lost the way that our bodies were actually supposed to function. So they came in to sort of be like, to help, like sort of protect the body, to help connect us to the right sort of appropriate matrix. But then that matrix became dysfunctional. So now it's also this place in our system that entities and things can attach to. And so it's a process of really being able to get in touch with our organs again and letting our organs kind of take over. So to me, I'm here to like build the body and connect with the divine human. And I haven't been shown anything that has to do with avatars, but I believe in avatars. And you could say that we already are avatars.
Right.
But so I don't know about that necessarily.
Okay. That's the first time I've heard that about the chakra system. That's fascinating. So let me ask you this: with that
Okay.
information, um, s- so what about chakra work and keeping your chakras spinning and healthy? Does
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
Okay.
this isn't, I'm not like, they're not real. We have a
Okay.
whole history that says that they're real, and
Right.
that we have the Nadi system. So I believe in all of these energy systems. But I've also been shown that like our bodies have been like, we have livers, we have spleen, we have all of these, our digestive system, right? Like naturally, our system is meant to sort of work with light, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
it's that we were given or gifted the chakra system to help support the body, because the body began to get lost from the original divine DNA, began to sort of be controlled. So with this system, we absolutely still have to keep it clear, because they are like these portals and these
Right.
vortices, but our bodies were originally designed to have connection points. I mean, the womb is 100% a portal between life and death, which is why so many women out there, when they become pregnant, they sort of feel more open. They have a lot of more psychic contact because you have this being that's growing inside of you. Everything starts opening. But our heart is like that. Our throats are like that. Like,
Mhm.
so we have to be able, so the working with your chakra system is completely important and very valid, but we also need to work on our body. And I believe that the chakra system is something that was meant to help us. And then we're also supposed to transition out of it back into the divine body.
Okay, so in the divine body, you're talking about the light body that where
Yeah,
we
where
don't utilize the earth chakra system.
yeah, or just that this body doesn't need a chakra system because
Right.
my digestive system can digest more than food. It can digest light. My heart is its whole complex system that doesn't need to be necessarily hooked into this particular matrix or hooked into the ways that it once originally helped us, so that they are meant to dissolve in an organic process through an organic ascension timeline and through an organic process. So all of them don't just dissolve overnight. I think it's a process.
Right. Yeah. And so, on that note, the process. Okay, so the process in perhaps is what you're talking about is, as I maybe understand it, as information is coming to me as we're talking, is being aware of this as healing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and
Raising
there's
our
like
raising our frequency, being as holding as much light as we can, integrating as much light as we can, so that we
mhm.
are working on that process and continually working on that process. Correct? Is that how you see it?
Yeah, and you keep working with the chakra system, that's lovely because things can still attach to it. But I believe that once we can allow our body to be in its organic divine self, it will no longer need to have the chakra system. So there will be an organic dissolution process, and then there won't be things that can actually attach into us. There won't be controllers there, like that we will truly be these sovereign beings, but we have to bring all of our organs back up to health. We have to understand, we really have to be in tune and understand our body, because originally I feel, and what I've been shown is that we never had chakras from day one. We were these beings that came in that were divinely designed to integrate and to be a part of this planet. And then things started happening and histories have been hidden from us. And so the
Mhm.
gift was, here's chakras to help you to kind of like keep everything in place, because we lost the ability to fully function naturally. Like our bodies began to become denser and sort of sicker in a lot of ways.
Right.
So
Yeah, and so that was probably around the time when Enlil messed with our DNA, maybe. And I would think that Enki was the one who, that it, just from my memories, gave us the gift. I know that the Anunnaki, who knows, but that kind of sounds like what they were doing. Yeah, that resonates. That makes sense. So, I also understand that the information about chakras that uh, we've been given is not enough. Is not all of it either. Like, I mean, we have so many portals in our that our bodies that connect us to all kinds, all levels of our divine and our earthly being.
right. And I
Yeah,
think that's also why chakras are assigned to different sections of the body, like the root chakra and the womb
yeah,
and all of these parts. And they're also oscillating at different frequencies. So each one of our bodies has a time signature. Like, I mean, we have a body, our body has a time signature, and all time signatures are different. But each one of our organs has its own time signature. And our body can really only integrate at the slowest like oscillation point of an organ or a part of our body. So it's kind of why they've assigned sound to different chakras, and that
Mhm.
these chakras are meant to help stabilize the different organs that they're associated with.
Mhm.
But at some point, the chakras will be able to dissolve because these beautiful organs that were originally given to us can sort of take over and function how they're meant to function. So it's an interesting process. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Fascinating stuff. Let's see. We got some comments here. Shelley says, I sleep and dream a lot more. I'm assuming since you got sick. So I hope you're feeling a lot better. Yeah, that seems to happen. Um, and then I saw a comment here from Damo. I just tell the viruses no thanks. The viruses will then scan your body. And if they detect certain distortions, they will act or not act. They just want to teach lessons. Conscious beings.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. And so
I love
also,
that comment.
yeah, from Mike, as the earth frequencies rise, we have to let go, release a lot so we can raise our frequencies as well. Sometimes it shows up as health issues. Yeah, yes, makes total sense. So, are you aware of the wing makers? That information that came out a long time ago. Okay, so apparently, they the story was that there was cave drawings and discs of music and things like that, or sound frequencies, music, were found in Chaco Canyon, apparently, around the Grand Canyon, Grand Canyon area. Right. So apparently, what I've heard is that in the galactic intel world, a cave was discovered that has similar stuff to what the wing makers were talking about and were shown. And they found discs, they found tablets, a actual ship is there. Yeah. So wing makers was kind of, if anyone remembers wing makers, after a few years, it was, I think, infiltrated. The website was infiltrated. It was passed off as just a made up story, fiction. But when I started reading about it, and I have a couple of the books about that. One of the gentlemen, that James, who was the spokesman after a little while, wrote, and just reading the information on the Wingmakers website, I felt such a connection to them. For some reason, it felt real to me anyway. But it sounds like there has that information is coming out about about the discoveries from that time, but they're saying that, but now they're talking to us about it as if it's new information. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting, actually.
Yeah, totally. And that goes along with the also the ant people who have apparently have underground cities too, that have been here for a very, very, very long time. These galactic beings and or species of alien beings, and that there are discovering underground cities where beings live and have lived for a very long time. And they're talking about coming to the surface sooner or later. So, on a galactic note, what I keep getting from my peeps is that we can't rely on the governments, right, to tell us if this is real or not. If there are extraterrestrial, I mean, anybody with any sense in their head has to know that we're not the only one. We're not the only intelligent beings out here in our galaxy, right? And I say that with quotes because I don't know how intelligent we really are as a whole. But So we have to, in order for us to have discernment with all this, it needs to be within us individually, make that connection on an individual basis.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then if any false flag comes around, or a fake extraterrestrial invasion, that kind of thing, then we can't be fooled, because um, that's one of the what I understand is one of the next false flags that they might try. They meaning the controllers, like you were talking about earlier. Exciting times.
I think so. I always feel I don't know, I just think there's a, whether I mean, I guess if you're tuning in, you're probably gonna be pretty galactic oriented, but I feel like there's a really big benefit, even in your own spiritual and psychic development, to work with animals and insects, both the earth ones, and they all have galactic counterparts. So whether you want to work with the ants crawling across your kitchen sink, or the ant people, or the ant beings, or the insectoid beings, spiders, like the divine weavers always show up to me as these massive spiders. And
Mhm.
they're amazing at weaving new timelines in. They're also amazing at helping me to sort of energetically purge that which no longer belongs, or to remove any sort of non beneficial energies, thought forms, or belief systems. Um, and to even like choose an animal, maybe you want to go into a meditation, choose an animal or an insect, because the way that spiders, for example, the messages that I've gotten from spiders is that they're creating with their webs these portals and these like stargates, like they're literally showing you how interconnected they are, how interconnected we are.
Mhm.
They're not even using their sight, but they are able to understand when one of their threads is out of alignment, and they will go and they will make adjustment just based on the sound of the movement of the wind and the breeze that is coming through. And so even studying an insect or studying an animal and sort of tuning into those energies and frequencies can be really helpful as you move through any challenging times. How are they experiencing the solar energies? How are they experiencing the gateways, that the eclipse gateways that are coming up? Because they have bodies and they're grounded and they're also connected. So next time you see a praying mantis, know that that being is absolutely connected to the great mother mantis beings. And so we're going to be working a lot on that in the Gaia and the Galactics course that's coming up. But whether you're in that or not, I mean, these are just tools that you can use or that you can tune into, because just like them, we have amazing intelligence in these bodies that know how to naturally connect to our galactic counterparts or our stations of identity. And the more that we connect with those energies and the more that we embody them, the more that we're able to shift the field here, but the more that we're actually able to move through these sort of challenging times, and we're able to bring these stations of identity in and embody them and integrate them, which is how my understanding is how we move into higher dimensional frequencies, because we add these different perspectives to everything that we're looking at and everything that we're experiencing it. So we're not just looking at this one perspective. It's like we have the diamond mind, or that's what the beings always show me, like this big giant diamond. So you have this big giant diamond that has multiple facets on it, and every time you look through those facets, you have these different windows. So every time you look at an experience, it is always multidimensional in nature, and it always includes this absolute moment that we are in. And then you can shift and that you can move it. So to me, ascension is so much about expanding our perspectives on what is happening, So that way we can actually move through these challenges in sort of with ease, grace, and unconditional love. The challenges don't necessarily go away, but the way in which we can shift and move through them is just, I find it really interesting and fascinating, and things do kind of ease up. And the fact that it is okay to feel joyful. Like, the beings are always saying that it is okay to feel joyful, even if things kind of around you aren't so joyful all the time. Force it, but it's a natural innate state that is a part of us. So how many of
Mhm.
you, and I've been like this, I'll be happy when after I do X, Y, and Z, then I can feel happy. Why can't you feel happy now while you're doing X, Y, and Z?
Right. Yeah. I love that. Thanks, Ashley. I know I love watching insects. They're fascinating. I learn so much from them. Spiders, yeah, spiders are amazing. When I see a spider web with the sun shining through it or light shining through it, I mean, I could stare at that for
Mhm.
a very long time. It's just amazing stuff. Definitely, that's really
I mean, it's
good,
sacred
good insight
geometry
there.
that these beings, like, created for you so we can stop and, like, take that in. That's a transmission that's coming through.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Um, what you were talking about, of multidimensional, that we have the diamond mind and all that. It reminds me of mine and my sister's photos, or orb photos, and the spirit mist photos, and how much every time I look at them, I see something more different and more. Because I noticed that when everything's like that when you look at it, in the micro. um, First, when I look at it, whoops, in the macro, I see the whole kind of thing.
Mhm.
I see it in that, and as I zoom in, like orbs or spirit mist or anything like that, I see everything that makes up that being or whatever I see in that spirit mist. Because I always see that something, someone or something in the spirit mist, in the plasma cloud or whatever, takes on that form, and then I can see all the little cells, I guess you could call them, the parts of that plasma cloud, that spirit mist that makes up that whole, just like us. It's like going into our cells and into us, and looking at it through a microscope and seeing all the trillions of cells that make up our body. It's fascinating. I learned so much from our photos.
Yeah, they're really awesome. I have a photo that Sharon took of me at a SETI, and there was a bazillion orbs around, and it was so awesome. And it's yeah, sure, it's about me, but it's also about her and how she calls them in, and a SETI's already hopping.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember that photo. Definitely. It's I think it might even be on my sister's website, because yeah, there's a lot of them. That was the
mm,
first time we were there, I believe.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so we're about out of time. We've been on here almost an hour and a half. Of course, I skipped out a little bit, but if anyone has any comments or questions or anything like that, complaints, whatever, now's your time.
Now is the time.
Now's the time, or hold your peace until next time. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Anything else? Let's see here about the galactics. I'm getting to where, not getting, but I feel that we are getting to that place of where, um, star seeds, especially, just it's just kind of natural for us to know that they're here with us. Does that make sense?
I mean that there's
It's,
others? What do you mean by that?
I mean, knowing that star beings or star families are here with us, just in a higher frequency, or maybe on the ships. I've
Oh,
talked
yeah,
to a
yeah,
lot of,
yeah.
okay, so
That we
they're
can
around us.
connect to them. Is that what you mean?
Huh?
That we can connect to them, or there's
That
other
we can,
people that are also connecting to their star families?
yes, and
Yes.
that it's not such a big, maybe that's just in my world, but it's not such a big deal anymore. It's getting to be, it's more normal,
Yeah.
more, yeah, it's just who we are, because they're making it a lot easier for us to it I mean, we are making it a lot easier, they and us and Federation and everything that's been working with our planet, everyone and everything with our part, this part of the system, has the veils thinning, all of it is making it easier for us to be able to feel them and be connected, and to where it's just kind of, it's just normal. It's not such a big deal.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
preaching to the choir over here. I'm like, I don't know what he's like.
I know, I am.
Totally
Okay.
normal.
You're like, yeah, I know that. I've been knowing that for years.
Yeah.
But tell me
But
something
more
I don't
people
know.
are also realizing that. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, it's like I don't even have it's like I can kind of I agree with that because I can feel the beings showing me other stuff. I'm always going to be doing star sessions and I always love star sessions, but I feel like they're also pointing me in other direction, like
Mhm.
not to not do that because that will always be a part of it, but to like expand into sort of other things because I think people are like getting it and I'm like, all right, good job. So what's
Right.
next?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
It's becoming a lot more normal in this, and this is what part of the ascension process is all about,
Mhm.
um is when you have that community and you're building that community, expanding that community to where it's normal, and we're back to that and having that awareness, and having that clear and conscious connection to where in our lifetime, I feel like it's in our lifetime, and I'm a lot older than you, so in my lifetime, um, where they're going to be walking among us, or we're walking among them, type of thing, and we have conscious memory of being on ships, and we're in ships, we're on ships.
Mhm.
We have that conscious memory because it's happening more and more. I'm having more conscious memory of it, more real time conscious memory, and that's huge to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because I've
mean,
been.
we're here to uncover. I mean, our history has been kept from us, and the way in which we're being fed a false history in a lot of ways. I
Right.
mean, even just we're talking basic history, like colonizers, right?
Yeah.
Like the ones colonizers write history. So whatever they're saying, not true. So even that little not a huge aspect of it, but beyond that, like we have the right, all of us, it is our divine right to access our true history. And the purpose of
Mhm.
that is because if we cannot access our history, and my history is going to be different than Sharon's history, it is our divine birthright to access our history because without access to our history, we cannot heal. And so by attuning to our bodies and letting our bodies show us things or get sick or have these viruses that come in to show us these lessons or that we've been sick in some other multidimensional realm, that's part of it. But the way in which we can remember and allow, whether you have a near death experience or in your dreams, these memories that come to you, they're coming to you to remember so that you can have that history. You can own that history. You are a sovereign kingdom in this body unto yourself, and that's your history. And by accessing that history, you get to heal whatever disruptions happened in your own history. And so it's massively important.
Yes. Thank you. And
Yeah.
that's why it's been kept from us for so long. Because if we know that, they know that. Yeah. Okay, we've got some comments here. Perfect. Let's see here. Adamo says, thank you. You're very welcome. Pam, thanks, ladies. I enjoyed hearing your perspective and learning new ideas. Oh, well, good. Well, thank you for being here, Pam. And Jonah, thank you for the complex and accurate articulation of some of the functioning of reality. That would be from Ashley. Okay. And let's see what else is here. Would you like to do some light language, singing, vocalization, prayers?
Yeah, we can do that on the way out for a few minutes if you want. Is
Sure.
there anything that you want to say or include in it? We can set the intention to help people with integration and to help find your intention that you would like to bring into Thursday's beginning of this, even though we're already feeling it now, into the solar
Mhm.
and lunar eclipse gateways.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
All right.
Mhm.
We'll see
Mhm.
how this audio goes. We'll not worry about it. All right. So let's
Okay.
all take a deep breath in.
Mm.
Imagine that with every breath that you take in, you find yourself being drawn in and magnetized into the center of the new earth, the earth that always was, is, and will be, the earth that we know her to be. And we can go ahead and invite in our multi-dimensional and galactic aspects to connect with our earth selves, remembering that we are part of Gaia in this moment, and that Gaia is an earth ship, a spaceship, and that she is part of all of the star nations, and that she is beloved as we all
Mm.
are.
Mhm.
Handera rei urura shira sho. Hai hariara kuira kurai harai. Hai horara shira shurai harai. Dai horora shira shurai horo. Dai horora shira korai horo. Humbaria shunda 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 shun. Koriara shura pura handiachra hunda krashunda. Krashunda buhanda 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 koera shumba. Koera shumba reakura shunda reakura buashunda hai. Bora shunda reashunda pura 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 pura. Humbaria katayata kutanda shtya rushundya rushundya indara sharia pukaria karia huranda 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 kura kura hui atata shunda kata shun humbaria shui Handere pu purururura quera corei huru. Dai hurura shira kuhuru. Huru shu. With that, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and we love you, we love you, we love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Whew. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we will see you next time. Thanks, Ashley.